Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Curtis, and today I'm going to do a review for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 6, Episode 1. So the episode started off like one of those documentaries, the one where a group of friends they get together and they're like, you know what, we should go explore a place that nobody should explore, and then unfortunately one of them end up missing. That was the vibe that I was getting when it came to the beginning of this episode. We see it, ladies, and it appears that everybody's getting along. It looks like everybody's going to have a good time, but as time goes along, things start to erupt and people start falling out. And so Mary, we hear her voice and she says, you know what? Why are we here if we are not friends? And I was like, well, it's probably because you are on a reality TV show called Real Housewives of Salt Lake City if production made you all come on this trip. The episode flashes back before those chain of events, and we do see Angie. She is driving an RV around the city. She does eventually arrive over at Mary's house, and she is blowing the horn and blowing it as much as she possibly can. Mary ends up coming out of the house. She's walking towards the RV. Angie actually exits the RV and she greets her like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like, she's super happy, super excited. The only thing Mary could do is look at her outfit and say, why are you dressed like you're getting ready to go to the office? Angie and Mary, they go into the RV and Mary's introduced to T. And so Angie's like, hey, just so you know, T, he's going to drive some of the way. I'm going to drive some of the way as well. And Mary's like, wait a minute, so you were driving? She said, yeah. She said, am I going to be safe? Are we going to be safe? She said, yes, we are going to be safe. And so this is when we find out that Angie has actually been driving RVs for about 3 years. So she's pretty familiar with how to drive it. And then Mary's like, well, you know what? My grandmother actually used to own RVs, so I'm kind of familiar with the RV life. But even with that being said, I do not want to be on an RV with people that I do not fuck with. It's during this scene that we find out that Angie actually kind of lies to the other ladies about her plans. She told them that they will basically be going to like a luxury resort where they'll be able to sleep in an expensive luxury bed, when in fact they will be sleeping in an RV, and I'll be honest with you all, I would have been pissed. We flash over to Meredith, Heather, Bronwyn, Whitney, and Brittany, and they're waiting outside for Mary and Angie to arrive. And of course, they're trying to figure out, where are they taking us? Like, where do you think that we're going? Heather tells them that she reached out to Angie in hopes that she would spill the beans, but Angie, she's not revealing anything, so she has no idea what's going on. It's during the scene that we find out that Lisa is not coming on the trip, and it's also during the scene that we get an update as far as who fucks with who, so I'm just going to read it down, okay? So Meredith does not fuck with Brittany. Heather does not fuck with Bronwyn. Mary Loki does not fuck with any of them. Angie, Whitney, and Bronwyn, they don't fuck with Lisa. Angie eventually pulls up in the RV and the lady's like, are you serious? Like, what is going on? She and Mary, they come out and they greet everyone. And Brittany's like, so we're not flying anywhere? She was like, no. She was like, I have my bikini under this. Like, I thought we were going to the beach or something. And she was like, unfortunately not. The ladies end up going into the RV, and it becomes quite clear that they really do not want to be around each other like that. And then next thing you know, a group of men in these SWAT uniforms arrive. And so they're like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, this is PTSD from what happened before. But as soon as I saw them, I knew that it wasn't real because, first of all, they didn't have on the proper uniforms. That was number one. They didn't have the bulletproof vests on. And also, they did not have any guns. So I already knew that this was pretty much going to be like a strip situation. The men tell them that they are looking for Whitney, so she comes down, and they tell her that she is being under arrest for being a bad girl. And then the guys get on the bus, they do a couple of stripper moves, and then they get off. T begins to drive, and Angie lets them know like it's probably going to be like an hour before they get to their destination, so they probably should use this time to have a conversation, get everything off of their chest, so that way by the time they get to where they're going, they can have a good time. Heather chimes in and asks about Lisa, and she's like, well, Lisa actually had some work that she needed to get done, so unfortunately she couldn't make it, but she left out one important part. The main reason why Lisa's not there because she does not fuck with Bronwyn. Whitney is not buying it, and she actually starts talking a little bit about Lisa, and so Brittany's like, look, cut her some slack and please don't drag her. And she's like, I'm not dragging her, but there are certain things that we need to talk about. And so Brittany's like, well, since you want to talk about what's going on with Lisa, let's talk about what's going on with you. And the fact that people are on social media saying that you had a pyramid scheme. Whitney gets offended and tells her, like, you don't know anything about my business. You don't know anything that's going on. Like, why would you even bring that up? And so Brittany gets into the confessions and she's like, look, I feel like the only reason why she's talking shit about Lisa is because one, she's not here, and two, because she believes that nobody's going to have her back, but little does she know that I have her back fully. Whitney's like, look, you want to ask me all these questions about my business and about money and all of that stuff. Let me ask you a question. How do you make your money? And I was like, she makes her money by being on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Whitney. And so then she's like, I heard from the grapevine that you suck dick to make money. And Brittany's like, girl, bye. Ain't nobody even talking about that. What I just want you to know is that when it comes to Lisa, you are not going to talk shit about her when she's not here. Period. The ladies arrive at the resort, and y'all, it is just like, I'm not really sure. It's like abandoned buses, abandoned trucks. abandoned this, abandoned that, debris everywhere. And I was just like, what is going on here? And then Angie actually reveals, you know what, I'll be honest with you, I did not actually come out here and look at the location. I just saw it online and it looked pretty good. And I was just like, this is going to be a disaster. And something that made me laugh at this scene is that Mary compared this location to the trenches. And I was like, the trenches, Mary? She be doing a lot. The ladies get out of the RV and Brittany reveals that she actually bought everybody camcorders. And I said, camcorders? Yo, I've not seen a camcorder since I was like 16, 17 years old. So I was like, wow, that's really taking it back. But she got everybody camcorders. So if you go back to the beginning of the episode, remember I was saying like it's kind of like documentary style. That's why it's documentary style, because she got everybody camcorders. The ladies are having a conversation and Angie decides to bring up Lisa. And then Heather gets into the confessional. She's like, look, I feel like she did not come on the trip because she's trying to make a statement and basically say that she doesn't really like us the way that we like her. That's personally how I feel. And so Brown brings up the fact that there are people out there accusing her of things that are really not that good. And maybe the reason why she did not go on the trip is because she didn't want them to question her about it. Mary chimes in and tells him, like, you know what, I think it's weird that Lisa feels like she can say whatever she wants about us, ask us questions about everything that's going on in our lives, but we're not allowed to ask her anything. It's at this time that Broadman reveals that she knows the 5 lawsuits that are going against Lisa, her husband, and her business. Heather starts to question Bronwyn and basically insinuate that she's a stalker. Like, how do you know all of this information? Like, are you stalking her? Like, how do you know? And she was like, I'm not stalking her. This information is available to everybody. She's like, where? She's like, it's in the newspaper. And she's like, no, it's not. She's like, yes, it's in the newspaper. And the other ladies, they chime in like, yes, it is in the newspaper. It's all out there. And so Heather's like, I didn't see anything about it. I have no idea. Angie's like, look, stop with the bullshit. Like, if you sit up here saying that you did not see it, you were just playing stupid. Like, don't do that. We all know what's going on with Lisa. Angie brings up Jen, and Heather's like, look, don't bring that girl up. She is in prison where she belongs. I was like, well, damn. It's like that. This argument ends with Angie saying, look, as far as us having a conversation about Lisa, I'm going to actually tell her everything that was being said. So this isn't a situation of us talking behind her back. I'm actually going to bring it to her attention. And I would have said something to her if she came on the trip, but she decided not to. Heather says, look, when you have a conversation with Lisa and let her know that everybody was talking about her, can you please omit me from it and make it appear as if I wasn't here? And I was like, why would you want her to omit you from the conversation? You were defending her. Why wouldn't you want her to know that you were defending her? That part was kind of weird to me. So the group, they are having a conversation and Brittany decides to get up and make a speech, right? Make an announcement. And she says, I just want to let you all know that I actually got engaged. And everybody's just like, oh, okay. It wasn't like, congratulations. It was like, oh, okay. Then she was like, and then 2 weeks later, I actually got unengaged. And it was like, oh, okay. And she's like, well, the reason why I got unengaged is because the kids were not happy about it. But then she goes on to say that they're still together in a relationship. So I'm just like, what? She's giving me advice from Potomac. After this conversation, the ladies are split into 2 different groups. One group goes fishing, the other group goes kayaking. Me personally, I would have preferred to go fishing because those kayaks are a little unstable, and then also there wasn't anybody behind them to guide them or protect them, so yeah, I definitely would have been fishing. After the ladies finish fishing and kayaking, they go back to the RV site, and Angie tells them that they need to cook their own food over the open fire, and I was like, huh? No, I would have asked one of the producers to bring me some food. And so she lets her know that she has, some meat in the refrigerator inside the RV. And so they bring out some hot dogs, but then it turns out that she doesn't have any hot dog bun. She doesn't have any ketchup. I'm like, what is going on? While they are trying to figure out the food situation, they do bring out this lady who apparently she escaped a colony a long time ago. And now she is just haunting people who come to the site. And I was just like, So apparently there's some type of ghost, some type of witch, some type of somebody that's out here that's haunting people and doing stuff to people while they are at the site. And this is where you all decided to go on a trip. That is interesting. Especially when you consider the fact that Mary is somebody who's supposed to be connected to this trip. The ladies continue to talk, and it appears that the rest of the night is going to be good. It's going to be lighthearted. It's going to be fun. It's just going to be a girls' trip. But of course, it does not last long because Angie tells Heather, you know what? I'm glad that you are able to be your authentic self. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I feel like when you are around Lisa, you switch up and act different. And the only reason why you're acting nice to us right now is because she is not here. Heather's like, what are you talking about? She said, I mean, even when it comes to like Bronwyn, do you really think that you would have made up with her if Lisa was here? And she's like, yes, if we would have went kayaking and had our conversation, we definitely would have made up. And also, I think it's important to note that the issue that I have with Bronwyn has nothing to do with Lisa, so we would have worked our stuff out regardless if she was here or not. And I guess Brittany was like, well, shit, if these two are arguing, I might as well start an argument too. And so Brittany uses this time to confront Whitney about that comment that she made about her sucking dick to make money. And Whitney was like, look, I didn't say that you suck dick to make money. What I said was that I heard that you may have sucked dick to make money, so I was just trying to verify with you to make sure that the information was correct. And I was like, Whitney, you know what you were saying. The two of them continue to go back and forth, and Whitney's like, look, you came for my business, so I decided to come for yours. And it's at this time that Whitney's like, you know what, look, when it comes to my business, it failed. This is something that I really wanted to be big, something that I thought was going to be a game changer for me, but it failed, and I actually had to fire all of my employees. Do you know how that feels? Like, that is something that I really did not want to have to do. And she's like, look, this was one of the toughest moments in my life, so for you to bring it up, I felt like it was real low. And so Brittany, she is trying to apologize, but Whitney, she is just talking over and talking over. I was like, Whitney, I understand you are upset and you are frustrated, but just let her apologize. That's what you want, right? She made her comments, you were crying, you're emotional, you want her to apologize, so let her apologize. Whitney goes on to say that she wishes that Lisa was as open and as honest as she was when it comes to the business, so that way that maybe they can lean into her, give her some advice, and possibly help her. After those two finish arguing, Meredith and Brittany actually get into an argument about their friendship or lack thereof. And it's clear that Brittany thought that they were friends, but Meredith did not. And so Brittany gets into the confessionals and she says that, you know what, I think that Meredith looks at me as like the weakest link in the group, but she clearly does not know who I am. Meredith tells her, like, look, I do not feel like you were interested, and to be honest, I really don't fuck with you. And I was like, well, damn, it's like that? The episode ends with the ladies, they're walking through the woods, because remember at the beginning, it's the docu-series, they're walking through the woods and everything is falling apart, everything is crumbling. So this is the beginning of them walking through the woods, and I was just like, shit, not me. And that's everything I have for you all. I really do appreciate you all watching. If you could, please like, comment, share, subscribe. That would be great. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.